Theorizing that one could podcast within his own lifetime, third-class petty officer Dan Legendson stepped into the quantum leap accelerator and vanished. He woke to find himself trapped in the Loud and Drunk podcast, facing mirror images that were not his own, and driven by an unknown force to change them for the better. His only guide on this journey is Moses, an observer from his own time, who appears in the form of a dumpling-eating hologram that only Dan can see and hear. And so, third-class petty officer Dan finds himself leaping from podcast to podcast, striving to put right what once went wrong, and hoping that each time his next podcast will be the last.
Welcome, everybody, to the Loud and Drunk Podcast. This is Dan, and yes, I'm just trying to find the leap. Moses, God damn it, I like these intros. I'm starting to really like these.
I stumbled over that one because I don't have my glasses, but...
He's no Iggy, but we'll take it.
Yeah, we'll get it in editing, buddy.
It is what it is.
Oh my God, I'm a retard. That's one of my favorite lines from that when he just sleeps into a... He's just like, oh my God, I'm retarded.
God bless Scott Bakula.
He's the best thing that we have since, I don't know, sliced bread.
Sliced bread, yeah.
Justin, sir, the topic for this episode is time travel. So we are actually going to start asking a whole bunch of weird questions. One of those is going to be, what would you do with a time machine? Can you give us a sneak peek of what your answer could be?
I'm just going to tell you it would probably be something incredibly petty. I don't have lofty goals. I'm not trying to change the world here.
Yeah, you don't want to kill Hitler on the first try or something like that.
How passe. No, we'll get to it.
I am Max Walker.
You sure?
I mean, yes, I am sure. Yeah.
Well, give him a
year?
second. He just phased in. So
Yeah. What year is it? I know what year it is, but I just want to check with you guys just to be sure.
1955.
Oh, thank God. So it's great to be here. I'm actually a little bit thrown off. I didn't think this technology existed.
Yeah, you just have to tighten that vacuum tube a little bit just to get your sound a little bit better.
You know, and I thought that we got it right when we did the leap, but I'm not sure. Regardless, wonderful to be here. Max Walker. Yeah.
Welcome, Max.
Just a pleasure. Yeah, I'm happy to field whatever questions you might have, even though I am from this time. So, I mean, I can't answer questions from another time because I wouldn't know anything about that. I have not.
And how would you?
I haven't traveled through time or anything like that. But
yeah, this is great. We booked another goddamn time cop, didn't we?
No, I'm not a time cop.
He might be a time cop.
A time cop would say that.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean that's I don't know what a time cop is.
What's your favorite Van Damme movie?
It's all of them, really.
Oh, he's a traveler.
I'm not. All right. We're all just trying to have a good time.
Well, if you're traveling, make sure that you hit up our sponsor, The Underground. Located in historic Smithville Village on the way to Atlantic City is Jersey's coolest proprietor of rock and roll and punk rock apparel, horror merch, posters, accessories, and more. You can find them online at theoriginalunderground.com. The Underground, it's a bad store for bad people. I'd also like to take this time to encourage you to subscribe to this podcast. We are on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, Rumble, and everywhere else you get your podcasts. If you are on YouTube and Rumble, smash that like button. Leave us a comment, share this video with your friends, and get in on the conversation by joining us on social media at Loud and Drunk on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. All right, gentlemen, we have a rather weird quandary to start this episode. I'm actually going to let our special guest, totally not a time cop, Max, throw this out. What's this quandary?
So what is the appropriate amount of time that you can go back, just in general, before it's okay to make love to a relative?
Oh, interesting.
To somebody that you have some sort of a bloodline with. I mean, is it 100 years? Is it, is it 1,000? How far do you have to go back before it's okay?
I feel like some people would say, 10, 15 minutes.
So, some people would say that, yeah.
Well, I've been down to the South. I know how it works.
Well, I'll pose the question to you first then. So what is your actual answer here? So the question is you go back, so let's say that it's not 10 or 15 minutes just for the sake of conversation.
Yes.
Your own predilections aside, what is the right amount of time? I mean, Adam and Eve, obviously, that was its own thing. But
And that happened fairly quickly, at least with assuming time was in existence.
That's what love is. Yeah, it happens fast.
Love is family, and Vin Diesel tells us that all the time.
Yeah, Blue Chew didn't exist yet, so we get it.
It's true. Yeah, there was no Tinder either.
Not a sponsor.
Oh, all right. I don't know what the hell that is, but it's hard for me to say because I have this other quandary in real time that I'm adopted, so I've never really
this could
met
be
much
happening.
family. It could be happening. It could have happened already. Who knows?
It could be happening for you right now. Right now. We don't even know.
Well, it's not happening right now because I'm not banging anyone right now.
Well, I mean, you are married.
Well, I'm married, but I'm not like physically banging anyone right here on the podcast.
Oh,
that would get us banned.
Yes.
Well, then, we'll save that for the paywall. But I would say at least you go back to your great-great-great-grandfather. And what was that?
He went with father.
I don't want to get nobody pregnant.
All right.
Practical, yet the truth comes out.
Whatever. Any port in a storm. But I guess that would be what? Like, how does that work? Is that like 3-4 generations?
Yeah, generation. Oh, each person is a generation.
So then I would say 4 generations. You're okay.
All right, fair enough.
Not just like because you've probably never met the
You certainly
significant.
have. 4 generations, yeah.
Well, that's why I'm trying to put that gap
100 years.
as
You've never met them.
as meeting like that because that makes it very awkward.
So is that where we draw the line then? That as long as you haven't met the relative?
I think that's. I mean, that should be one of them because that's just going to make it awkward. Because sometimes when you go back in time, you're going to run into some hot number. Like Marty McFly did this. Like he knew who she was, and he said no, but fucking.
It was his mother.
Yeah, and she was going to rape him.
That is
Calvin
very
Klein.
close.
Which is weird because right before that, she was about to get raped. So I don't know how that transfers.
Well,
It's a really rapey movie.
It was it's
we
got
live
its
long
problems.
enough to see ourselves become the villain.
Ourselves. We can only hope to live long enough to see ourselves become ourselves.
Wow, all right. And I guess we're rapists? Is that what the lesson is there?
In the worst terms, yes.
Okay.
Justin, please, for the love of God, have an answer that doesn't involve rape.
So a little backstory. So I'm from a family who my mother and her sisters are like very big on the, what's it called, genealogy. Have been for probably close to 30 years, pre all this DNA, you spit in a tube shit.
Yeah. Oh, 23 in May.
Yeah. So I always grew up with, like, my mom telling me, oh, like, this person's, like, a third cousin twice removed with a lateral and another thing here or there or another thing. So I would say you go back far enough that it takes too long to give all the designations what that family member is.
That's fair.
So it's like beyond, oh, that's your second grandmother 4 times removed with a lateral. They married and had a weird incestual thing, but then this person was beheaded and blah, 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 blah.
That's pretty far back.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, my mom's
It's not that far back.
Oh, I didn't realize he was that French.
Dutch, but close enough.
All right.
Yeah, like my mom and her sisters got us all the way back documented to like the 1300s.
That's amazing, honestly.
So you can't fuck anybody if you go back in time.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing.
I'm old school Dutch, old school, like early American Dutch. I can't fuck anybody.
Yeah, that's just how
I would like that to be
difficult.
put in the annals of time that Old School Dutch is a band name and I Can't Fuck Anybody as their opening album.
Wow. That's not bad.
That's not
That's
bad
not
at all.
bad.
I mean, especially like locally, like my mom's family moved to the town I grew up in the late 1600s.
Wow.
Being in high school and like having knowledge of this, you knew family names to avoid in the dating pool.
Yeah.
Dating must have been hard because there's a couple other families that have that kind of lineage and
Yeah.
I'd like to think most of them know it and I kind of know for a fact that most of them ignore it.
Yes.
That makes it very tough for the
There is a
teenage
reason
dating.
why we add Tucky to our town name.
I thought it was because of the bourbon.
Bourbon, if we wish.
Yeah, we wish.
There's
We
a,
wish.
There's a Brick Tucky bourbon, I think.
Well,
It's bourbon.
I mean,
I don't know.
my mom grew up with the Laird's family, so
Oh, well, there you go.
One hand washes the other.
Applejack, it'll get you through in a dark time.
Applejack.
It'll help you fuck your cousin.
They should have used that for their...
Oh, Ick-Tucky.
Oh, that's a good... I haven't heard that. Wow, that is apt.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's my general thought on it in this moment. I may chime back in if anybody else has something interesting to add.
So what I would say to this is I don't know if you can. Because if you time travel and bang one of your ancestors, you're fucking with the timeline.
Oh,
Are you though? Are you though? Because maybe that is part of the timeline.
You are going to, well, you would inherently fuck with the timeline in some manner. Whether it's like if we want to go in the Futurama sense, where you have no brainwave that can
Which I think is an apt explanation of why that is. Like that's why there's stupid people, because there's gonna be time travelers, and they just fucking clouded up that gene pool so much.
Wow. That's a leap by itself.
So that would be my concern about all of this, is that by time traveling and banging one of your ancestors, you're gonna create the butterfly effect. Unfortunately, a terrible movie, but an actual theory that you are going to actually, mess up. Like you could just go back, like to bang your great grand fucking cousin or something.
Father
like that.
in this case.
Yeah, father in most of the case.
They used to, well, if they could get pregnant now, they could get pregnant then.
Yeah.
That's how the science
works. You
works.
could go back with a bunch of Plan B pills.
At least there's a higher infant mortality rate back then.
Did they not have stairs back then? Because
Not as many as you would think.
It was a single-story world.
it's bizarre to me.
But if you do that, and it can actually just change the course of time itself.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can actually, like, all of a sudden you banged like a relative, like I don't know, like 300 years ago, and all of a sudden Hitler's in charge.
Right.
Like you don't know. So like, why would you do it in the first place?
But wouldn't that be an offshoot of a timeline?
I mean, yeah. Then we go into a multiverse.
And I think that's where we would delve
Like a string
into.
theory thing. Yeah.
Oh, so if we're talking about that, now it's more of a question of would you,
Yeah.
rather than
Well, I mean, it's not really a question because the answer is that you would.
Yeah,
You totally would.
the body wants what the body wants.
Yeah, I mean, let's not put ourselves up on a pedestal here.
I'm just here and now take my breath away as you bang your great
As Moses runs into his grandfather, his great-grandfather.
Oh, it'll be like
1720.
It's going to be like Officer and a Gentleman.
Oh. It's like, listen, darling, I'll give you 15 minutes. Start taking that bodice off. I'll see you in a little bit, huh?
Well, you have the power of time travel. You could tell her to do that and then fast forward. Like, just time travel to when it's off. It's only minutes, but still, like, why not abuse it if we're abusing it anyway?
Be kind, rewind. I get it. All right, let's do it.
I like that.
But yeah, no. You will not drag me into this.
I got you by the cockles right now. You're into it.
The damn cockles.
That's how we got.
My only weakness.
How'd you know? But it's wild. It's like I've seen pictures of my ancestors as far back as pictures go, and they're not a
Different times.
nice looking folk to look at.
Yeah.
Very plain.
They're very Dutch. Big heads.
There's something to be said for that rustic quality.
I bet they bake a great pie.
I'm sure they did.
And
And it's
find
very
yourself in a
rustic.
foxhole.
Isn't that what you're into? Like, isn't that what you're going for? Is the pie?
Don't tell me my kinks.
I was just thinking of like a nice rhubarb. But
You're just putting all your stuff onto me.
well, I don't have anywhere else to put it.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah. He did.
That's the dirtiest I've ever felt on this podcast.
There's been a lot of dirty moments on this podcast.
Are you my great grandfather?
Oh my God! Is that what's happening? Are they in love, Dan?
Well, no, it had nothing to do with love.
Needed people to work the land.
And I'm all about them hoes.
Wow.
Somebody take it away from us. It's only going to get worse.
Yeah, that's just where my theory is with this, because the idea is when it's okay to go back and bang an ancestor.
Okay, it's a broad term.
Yeah, okay is a broad term. So for me, it's like, well, if I'm going to fuck with the timeline, then all of a sudden, come back here and the communists are in charge. Then we got a problem.
I would chime in with this. There are absolutely, as it's been touched upon, there's two different ways to look at it. The one is where we're affecting the timeline.
Yeah.
And that's like such a fucking rabbit hole that I'm not even sure where to go with that. And I say that as somebody who is not a time traveler. I've never traveled through time.
All right.
Wow, you've really.
So let me have a little sliver of a game here for myself. So the Dutch are pretty quiet these days, but we all remember King Leopold, right?
Yeah, I mean, you got around Africa.
It took a lot of hands.
Yeah.
That rubber, hot commodity.
Yeah.
So if
Well, he was teaching those savages how to be civilized.
The only reason we have condoms is because of him.
Is that can't be true?
No,
He was about the rubber, yeah.
Well, they had condoms before that. They were just made out
those
of, like,
are
sheep
sheepskin,
intestines and stuff like that.
That's gross.
Well, you do what you got to do.
I thought that. Oh, man, banging my great-great-great-grandfather is against it. Okay. I guess we're not doing whatever we have to do.
So I don't know. Like, if I were able to look at, like, my family tree and find something that led into, like, the douchebaggery of King Leopold, maybe I would go that far to try to, like, make him a more retarded cousin or something. I don't know.
I mean, I'm into that.
Yeah, do you have an Ephraim in your lineage?
No, but I got a couple Ulysses, which is
Oh,
weird.
that could, yeah.
That's all stateside, though.
Well, one of them became president, so well, maybe not one of
that
yours,
one.
but
That wasn't one of ours.
Ulysses S. Grant?
yeah, that's who I'm talking about.
Okay.
We had Gantz, not
There's a
Grants.
reason they killed him.
Oh.
President Grant.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's a reason he was assassinated.
We'll save that for another history episode.
Weird that you know that.
Well, I had to do a report one time on him. That's all I remember.
I had to do a report one time.
One time.
I don't know. I mean, I will chime in, and I appreciate these answers, some of them more enlightening than others. I think that the way in which the way in which I look at it, the fucking up of the timeline aside, right, whether that's a thing or not.
Yeah, because these are essentially...
What ifs?
They are what ifs, and they are definitely attached, but we have to kind of detach them for argument's
Right.
sake, and then build upon that we can reattach them at the end.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But there is also, and I don't know the answer to this, but there is also a reality where before the modern age, people would live in their somewhat isolated societies, like before globalization, so more isolated than we think of it today, where you can like go and find yourself like a Taiwanese hooker or whatever it is that you're into. And so people were very much so inside of their society. So your difference between somebody, like cross-cousin marriages, still a thing.
A very
still
big,
very
yeah,
much so a thing.
yeah.
Like that was true for Italians up until like, 100 years ago?
Oh,
it's
big
still
time.
true in the
Yep.
Middle East. It's true in a lot of places throughout the world. And it's apparently like genetically free of error. That's what I've read about it. I don't know if that's
It's
true.
as safe
yeah.
as you
Yeah.
can get.
I don't know if that makes it okay, but I don't have any cousins, so I can't speak to that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
He's got a harem of family.
Yeah, that's true. Well, listen, when you travel through time like me, you just don't have anybody in this timeline that you can, properly call family. So I just have to make of it what I will, is what I would say if I was hypothetically a time traveler, which I am not.
Clearly.
But yeah, so there's another angle to that as well. That said, I don't know, probably like 4 generations.
Isn't that what I said?
Yeah. You both landed on 100 years.
Yeah.
100 years.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
So,
She's good looking. Come on.
Also, like, why does it have to be a family member we're banging? Can't it just be anybody from the
Because
past?
then there's no stakes.
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
you
it
don't
has
know
to-
the stakes because you could bang somebody else, and that might even eliminate an entire bloodline.
But let me pose this to you, though, Moses. You're going to travel back 100 years. You're telling me that you're not going to go and find your grandfather and bang the shit out of him?
I might, but like, I'm gonna spend most of my time getting all the opium
Okay.
and bring it back here, so I have
When
it.
do you think 100 years ago was?
I would like to say probably Wednesday or Thursday.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Oh, can I pose a quick interstitial
Yeah,
then?
yes.
Let's set this particular thing aside and let it fester.
Marinate.
Or
Put her on the back burner.
on the back burner. If you could go back in time and have an affair with anybody from history,
Wow.
who would it be?
That is a question.
It's all right. So I
The
have
one night fling.
So will I affect history? Like, is this like a thing that could affect history? Or do I get to go back, do it, and then I just return to this time?
I'm going to say
Yeah,
for
no
this
strings
argument,
attached.
no effect on history.
Okay, so it's just a thing that I get to
Yes.
do? It's probably like one of the Tsarinas of Russia. I have no idea why that answer is what it is, but 100 years ago, I can't name a lot of attractive women. And I feel like to like really like put it to some royalty.
Yeah.
Like that would make me feel better as like somebody who's like living on the bottom today. Just like put the hurt on her,
I would go back in time and bang Marilyn Monroe,
Oh, nice. Yeah.
pre JFK.
Oh, yeah, before all the ruination happened.
I don't know if that's true, but like,
So I could live in this kind of like awe of myself. Like he got my sloppy seconds.
Yeah.
That's a good thing to hold over the Kennedys.
Yeah.
That's all. It's so steeped in politics that I hate it, but I also love that answer.
Then you'll love this one. I would go for Anastasia.
Oh.
So we're banging the
You're
same
banging
family
it,
then.
yeah.
Well,
Oh
maybe,
my
yeah.
God, we're like Eskimo cousins.
well, yeah, we're Eskimo bros.
Romanovs, man.
We're
Holy
Eskimo
cow.
bros.
Holy shit! I just named a Romanov too.
Yeah.
Yeah, touch my nose.
Yeah, well, we're going to do that
I'm
in the
between.
past.
You're not going to be doing any of that.
All
right
right,
now.
Dan. All right, settle down.
That's why we're
we'll just
separated
time
so far.
travel to when we were sitting next to each other.
Yeah.
There is a reason why you are separated.
Is it because we were doing too many Eskimo kisses?
Too many Eskimo kisses.
It's exactly that reason.
The amount of those weird rubbing sounds Dan had to edit out of our audio.
Yeah.
It's getting to be very traumatic.
Our
on my
noses
end.
are rough.
For those that are just tuning in, there was, that are tuning in even now, this is the second take.
Here we are.
It was flooded with Eskimo noses.
Yeah.
It was atrocious.
I'm actually offended right now.
Well, we kept warm.
Yeah.
You do what you got to do,
You
right?
always say that.
Yeah.
All right, Justin, what's your answer?
All right, so before I knew what stability was, I always chased insanity. So probably Madame Blavatsky.
Oh, shit.
Wow. That's a
Yeah, that's a deep cut.
Yeah.
story. Holy shit.
Yeah. I mean, really just screw up everything. You know, everything for everybody. Oh, God, it'd be so bad.
I kind of like that.
So bad.
Can I do more than one?
If you got something worthwhile
Well, I
saying.
mean, before you get to that, I just want to say that if this is a hypothetical, can we do more than one go back in time and bang women in history? This conversation is infinite.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Well,
there's,
no, it's
there's
very
four
finite.
men in this room, and I know where the conversation is going. And we only have 1 hour for this. So.
Well, I was going to say Marie Antoinette because I want to try the cake.
Oh, wow. That's awful.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, the pie, rather, but
Yeah.
there we are. That's what I'm looking for. Continue.
Looking for the groans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm upset.
Yeah.
Let me pose this question
Please.
as you had that question. What would you guys do if you were given a time machine? I will actually kick us off on this.
Okay.
If I was given a time machine, because I wouldn't do anything great. I wouldn't
No.
go back in time and try to kill Hitler or kill Stalin or anything like that. I would go back in time and see all the bands that I like from the 70s in their prime.
It's such a good argument.
That is a great idea, yeah.
And
Seeing Rush when 2112 came out, Van Halen when the first album came out, that's what I would do.
All right, if I could do a quick piggyback on yours, just because it's, I would love to see Dio with Rainbow.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I also feel like I won't affect the timeline.
Right.
I'll just slip
No,
in.
you're just
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Like
just
you
hear-
might
yeah.
bang somebody there because it's a Ronnie James Dio concert.
I mean-
and that's gonna happen.
Yeah, well, I mean, like all of these concerts,
I
you're
mean,
gonna run
yeah.
into that. Yeah.
Dio, Richie Blackmore. If I could see that string of shows, like popping for that string of shows that they recorded all their music videos from in that castle, that would be amazing. That's where I would go.
Yeah.
I would love to go see fucking Jimi Hendrix at like Woodstock when he's burning that whole scene of him burning the guitar and everything. Because it was just, at least from what I've seen in pictures, it was a debatable revolutionary time in music.
No, a buddy of
And-
mine said that he sucked live because he was always just so fucked up that he couldn't really
And that might have been true. But like I've gone to a lot of concerts, and a lot of these, like putting air quotes up, that are great bands. They're terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Live, like I don't know.
Yeah, you can fix a lot of stuff in like the studio, but once you go live, and
Yeah,
you're just
I honestly, most of Guns N' Roses are they like I've never seen Guns N' Roses, and their studio album sounds awesome.
Yeah,
like
Appetite.
Appetite for Destruction. But if you were to see Axl Rose do that live,
Well,
I don't think he has that voice at all.
Even in like the professionally done like videos that they've done of live concerts, Axel is running around from side stage to side stage, and he doesn't. I mean, I wouldn't say he sounds like shit, but he definitely doesn't sound anywhere near the studio.
I've never
Can all
heard.
be Chinese democracy.
I've never heard a good story of like when even like because I grew up in a time when Guns N' Roses were touring in proper like they use Your Illusion 1 and 2 tours, and I never heard a good thing about the singing. Rather, like the music, spot on, more or less. Like Slash is always solid, and the rest of them, can come in. They're in and out,
fine.
but they're still fine for like a concert.
But Guns
the
N'
voice-
Roses was kind of like the tail end of that like hair metal. It's just they followed that same mold that like kind of Van Halen.
What got them famous, and then they kind of went off of that
Yeah.
because it wasn't popular anymore.
Yeah. Because
And they couldn't do grunge.
They
for
were kind of
whatever
a
reason.
transition band in a lot of ways.
yeah.
But I had Appetite for Destruction. I listened to that album all the time when I was a teenager, and I'm like, you're just a harder Motley Crue. It's like
Yeah.
I never I enjoyed it when I was a kid, but I'm just like a lot of people swear by that band. You're just a better version of Motley Crue. I'm
Yeah,
not gonna-
okay, yeah. I would say they're a better version
Yeah.
of Motley Crue, and like Motley Crue's fine.
Yeah, they're fine,
But
but
It's fun.
Slash is I like Slash as a guitarist, but I don't have him above like Eddie Van Halen. If I could see him in his prime, that would be amazing.
That-
Not like fucked up.
Yeah.
Like when
feel
I did see him
I feel
twice.
like what Slash has got, he kind of lacks in what I would call like the proficiency of some of these other guitarists.
Yeah.
But he has that, like, if you were to
Stage
just
presence.
plug charm into it.
Yeah,
That's
he
what
has
he's got.
charisma out the ass when he doesn't even fucking say anything. He's just standing there with his top hat and his, I can't remember the guy's name, his fucking hair, shit. Can't
Go
think
with
of
the
it.
hair.
Yeah.
Quick poll. Currently, do you think
anyway.
the hair is attached to the hat or his head these days?
Oh, I think there's a bald spot under that hat.
Yeah,
Like he's doing a Hogan just with his curly hair, but there's a bald spot that is the same as Hogan, and he just doesn't wear bandanas. I guess he kind of does, but it's all the top hat is just covering that up.
Max,
I'm sorry. Yeah, please, Max.
do you have an answer?
I do. If I think that to answer the time travel question, you have to go back and do something, and obviously the question still begs: is this going to have an effect on the modern period? So you have to zip back, zip forward, or it does have this lingering effect. It's difficult for me to think about it without thinking about how it might impact this timeline. That at the very least, that I
Like, does
have-
it break off or does it affect now?
Right. Yeah. It's a string theory thing. What's going on? You know? So I still have to approach it, me personally, from this timeline of that, like that it's going to come forward and in some way impact me today. It'll change the timeline and so on and so forth. And so my inclination to do something somewhat innocuous, because obviously if you had a time machine, you would love to do a million different things, right?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it's like infinite. You know, all the things that I would love to do. I love history, so on and so forth. I would love to.
I would love to go hang out with Dr. Timothy Leary. Like when he's fucking starting up
boy.
LSD, I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm there.
That's ridiculous. That said, yeah, I kind of.
Yeah, you'd be right there.
Are they going to call you
right-
the Seeker?
Right after we bang Anastasia, we're going to hang out with Timothy Leary.
Right
and-
after he bangs his grandfather.
Yeah.
Well, he's coming with us.
That said,
Formed a
of
relationship.
all this myriad of things that I could hypothetically do, and most of them would have a huge impact on the timeline, right? So I'm not sure that I would be inclined towards that. So I think that if I just had it and I had to make the decision right now, I would go back in time and I would arrive when you, Moses, were about 5 years old, and I would be in your bedroom and I would just pop into existence, presumably, and you would be looking at me very confused. And I would just say, hello. And then I would zap back to this time period. And for the rest of your life, and I hope that I wouldn't interrupt the timeline so much that we wouldn't still become friends and know each other, but for the rest of your life, you would always have that image in your mind. Like, is this that man? That story that I can't tell anyone, that I was afraid to tell my parents, that I don't want to share with anyone because it sounds so insane. Is that the same man? And I would always know, and we would lock eyes, and you would know that it was me. I would know.
Here's a fun fact, actually.
I did.
From
In
my
fairness,
childhood.
yeah. I'm
I
sorry
know
to
you've
interrupt.
already done this.
I did this.
I know you have.
This is
And
a
you're
fact.
not the only one.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I've been visited by many. And they were young, and the one told me to drown that girl, and I tried, but they saved her.
Wow.
Her name is Christine.
But I saw what you did.
I
No,
love.
they told me to do it.
I love that you went with essentially a Family Guy skit. Hey, Stewie, you asleep yet?
That's not the same thing. You're saying Willem Dafoe. Like, he's the Willem Dafoe under my bed?
Yeah,
Because
that's
I also
essentially
had
what you went with.
I had Willem Dafoe under my bed, too. That Family Guy skit was based on my true story.
I didn't know you wrote for Family Guy.
No, I didn't. They just took it out of my
Oh, they
memoirs.
stole your IP?
Yeah. You know Seth MacFarlane. He steals everything.
Just sucked it out of your head.
Fucking Simpsons did it first.
Moses, what would you do with a time machine? I know we talked about music, but like, what would you want to do?
The music thing didn't really cross my mind until you brought it up.
Yeah.
And I would probably go back and go to some of these shows, like maybe not the same ones as you, but similar in the similar vein. But I would go around stealing. I would be the DB Cooper that we know now because nobody knows what he looks like. Nobody caught him because back then there was no DNA, there was no cameras. It was a lot easier to steal as long as you can run away fast enough. And granted, I can't do it now, but if I have a
Play
time
the
machine,
lottery too. You
well, I
already
could
know the
also,
winning numbers.
I was also going to say that, like, I can go back and see
It's like
these
getting the
scores.
sports book from.
But
exactly.
kind of like the Biff Tannen.
We're right back to back.
But that was more of a future. Like, I would go into the future of my present timeline, go into the future, find out who wins these games, and find the upsets.
So wait,
and
are
then
you
bet on
going?
it.
I'm sorry. Are you going into the future? Or are you
I'm going into the
to
future for the sports betting thing because
But why would you? You could just go into the past when you already know what the numbers are.
So
but I can't bet
Is
on
this
them
a
now.
thing? Can we go into the future? I didn't.
Yeah, but you can go into the past, bet on the
Find
Giants,
out, and then
bet
go-
on the Giants to beat the Patriots, get the money, and then come to the future.
if I can just interject real quick.
Or I could just go rob a fucking bank in the fucking past and get all these fucking bonds that are fucking worth a lot of money that they just lose because government doesn't know what they're doing.
It's your time machine. You do what you want.
I would love
the story of
just
Moses getting shot.
This is the thought that hit me. So Moses goes back in time. He's like, I'm going to bet on all these sports things that I know, which he knows very little of, except for 90s basketball.
And there's not too many.
And you're not gonna make any money off those bets because everyone knew that the Bulls were gonna win.
that's why I'm
betting on
saying.
the Chicago Bulls.
That's why I'm saying I'm going to find those when the underdog won,
you would bet on
like the 86
Giants,
Mets or something.
You would bet on the Giants
Was it
beating the
86?
Patriots.
Here's the thing.
Yeah,
This is what I'm talking about.
yeah.
You go back with your current knowledge you have in your noggin right now, and you have to go, was it the Mets? Am I in the right year?
That's why I'm robbing banks because I have a good idea on how to do that.
You don't have this stamina to rob a bank.
That's
Oh,
true.
yeah, but back then you could just shoot people and they died instantly.
Also, the cops were heavily armed.
Yeah.
Not that they're not today.
Yeah, but I know where they are now.
What?
And also, if
as
you
you pound
got
a beer.
shot, the medical science was not where it is now. So if you got shot, you'd probably get gangrene.
Yeah,
Honestly,
you're diabetic, Moses.
I've been cut open a lot, and there's no reason I should be alive.
Stick with Plan Biff.
Yeah.
Just go to
Plan
Wikipedia.
Biff. Yeah. Go stop in the future, download some sort of print off or whatever they do in the future.
Yeah,
It
you
was a
can't.
sports book that he got.
Well, I'm in that future, yes.
I think you're correcting Justin. Or hypothetical time travel. Yeah.
That's a goddamn
Don't
almanac.
be ignorant, Justin.
I'm sorry that they don't have.
But even in that respect, go back in time and the songs that I do know by heart, pitch them. And become
like
that
that.
star.
Just become like, I invented disco.
Yeah.
But then you forget when it crashes.
Once
That's
again,
all right.
though,
I'm already out
this
because then I
is-
could go to the
this
future when
is
it's popular
still
again.
just Back to the Future.
Yes.
It's just, We're just still just recreating that movie.
Yeah.
Is that all that we're talking about?
All right.
Honestly, that's all time travel
what we are
is.
talking about.
All right. So let's say this then. What's some interesting time travel media that you like? Obviously, everybody knows Back to the Future.
Everyone knows Back to
okay.
the Future.
There's only one film that's realistic.
I
It's
kind of have a
accurate.
feeling I
we're
might
Interstellar?
know where you're going.
It's Time Cop.
Time Cop. I
okay.
knew it would be Time Cop.
Not really where I thought it was Interstellar. All right.
No, it's the only realistic time travel film. It gives an accurate depiction of what time travel would look like.
That's a JCVD vessel.
Yes.
It is absolutely
Yep.
Jean-Claude all day,
Yep.
all day.
Better than Looper.
It's
No, Loopers is the best time travel movie ever.
yeah,
JVC said so.
yeah.
Let's take Joseph Gordon-Levitt and slap some prosthetics on his face to
Look like Bruce
supposedly
Willis.
make him look like a young Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
It's a complicated argument, and yes, that is unbelievable that the two people could be the same.
How did he
regardless of
get
time.
younger in the future?
Yeah, it just, well, I don't know if you're reading that right, but either way, Time Cop is the movie.
Yeah.
He gets into some sort of a high-powered, on-track motorcycle.
Yep.
Get zipped through time. and then he has to save his wife. And that sounds like time travel to me.
That sounds like every other Jean-Claude movie I've heard. He's just
Another
gotta save
one
his wife.
I would like to throw on 12 Monkeys.
12 Monkeys
Monkeys
is fantastic.
Yeah.
Was
Fantastic.
Another Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
yeah.
He's done a lot of time travel. Yeah. Really.
I bet he's wishing he had that now.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
12
you.
Monkeys.
What? Too soon?
No, it's not too soon.
I mean,
I also don't really care
Are you
that
talking
much.
about his
but-
Alzheimer's disease?
Yeah, it's Bruce Willis. He dies hard. But
Wow. Wow. That's just cruel.
it's a full circle. It's a good joke.
Yeah.
Whatever.
A sleeper I'd like to throw in, and it's not really, it's a time loop movie, Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow is great.
Is that the
you actually introduced
Tom?
Yeah, because it's made
Tom
off
Cruise.
of a
Tom
really
Cruise?
good Japanese manga called Live, Die, Repeat.
Oh, yeah. I'm familiar.
But as far as a vessel that had Tom Cruise in it, and I can't remember the lady's name. She's in a bunch of shit.
that's fine.
something.
Yeah, whatever it is. Yeah.
It's good. It's good.
And I will say, because it's where you thought I was going with it, Interstellar is a great time travel
It's
movie.
the scientifically correct.
It deals
debatably.
it deals with like the concept of like a tesseract and like cool fucking shit that is not normally addressed in like other sci-fi
Yeah, because it's
movies.
not as fun. It's kind of boring, but
Yeah,
they made
it's
it
very
okay.
boring. Yeah,
like that. At
exactly.
least the movie made it. Like,
Yeah.
all right, that's
But it's
interesting.
very fun. That said, I stand by Time Cop though, because that's what time travel's all about: fighting crime through time.
I just got done watching the second season of Loki, and it has a lot of that time in it because of the TVA. That there's some kind of like
Some
police,
multiversal.
some
type thing.
multiversal or police that kind of
Keeps everything in check.
in line. So even if we were to do these ridiculous things that we're talking about, they would either get pruned or they're allowed. I don't really know what their modus operandi
Good
is with
job,
it, but
Moses.
Yeah, here we are.
I'll jump in terms of time travel movies. This might be a little bit of a cop-out, but the two Terminator movies.
Oh,
The first two, Terminator 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Especially the second one is
Can we talk
baller.
about the fourth, fifth, and sixth?
no.
that has to
no.
be a different episode.
Yeah.
We can't talk about anything
We could do a Terminator episode. and-
from Rise of the Machines and on. Just erase that from the timeline.
Okay.
That's fair.
all right.
It
All of
Yeah.
those movies are
got
bad.
too
It got up
too much.
up its own asshole.
Yeah.
Also, Terminator 2 had Guns N' Roses in it.
It did have Guns N' Roses in it. Unfortunately, though, Salvation also had Guns N' Roses
Yeah.
in
Oh,
it.
did it?
Yeah,
I didn't,
it
I didn't
did.
see
Yeah.
that one.
Was
Yeah,
that
there
the
was
one with the motorcycle
Yes,
shins?
it is.
Yeah, Christian Bale.
That is not a time travel movie, though. That is
No.
just when it's the post-apocalyptic world.
That's
run by
in the
machines.
future,
That's
yeah.
in the future.
That literally takes place entirely in one time frame.
At least T3
yeah.
was a time travel movie.
Yes.
It had a shitty version of John Connor,
Yeah.
and had Claire Danes as
Yeah.
his, like, wife or whatever.
Whatever.
And that's
Yeah.
one of those movies that deals with that like time loop where it's like he's banging his, I don't know, banging his father. I don't know what your deal is, Moses, but
I don't know. Why are you so caught up on that, man?
Because you said something weird.
yeah,
I mean, you just made it weird.
yeah. Well, you said you wanted to bang your grandfather. I didn't make that weird. You did.
I'm also banging your grandfather. Like, I don't get what's weird about it.
He will not like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
he
I
was
am not
Jewish.
his
I don't think
king.
that he would be.
I am not his king. He will not enjoy this.
No, we got a 300 reference.
Wow.
There we go. Yeah.
I mean, fair play. But also, the original Time Machine movie. The original, not the remakes.
That's that Jules Verne
yes,
movie.
exactly, yeah.
So
very good.
I don't know if I've seen that.
It's,
The
mean,
original
like,
was good.
You got to have an understanding to watch it today of what was capable back then.
yeah.
It's one of those things. And it's been remade, I think, like 2 or 3 times.
Oh, they constantly make
the
it.
remake that came out in the I want to say early 2000s.
I
is
saw
that
it.
right?
It
Yeah.
was horrendous.
So like it was terrible. It was terrible. The CGI in it obviously like that adds something that you just couldn't do back in the day.
Yeah.
But the remake, what it added to it was basically that element, but it still maintained the original question of how you affect the timeline, which is really the same thing we've already made reference to. Was it butterfly effect?
Yeah.
Where you're attempting to control time by manipulating what happened in the
And
past.
that's the beautiful, because it's the Jules Verne story. It's very Edwardian, like Victorian era.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's
in
like all
its own
steampunk
way,
in
Yes.
essence. And
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like a giant, like Santa's sleigh looking thing with a big
Yeah.
spinning wheel.
Oh,
on the
yeah,
back.
exactly.
Yeah.
I do remember the cover. If I haven't seen the movie. But.
Yeah, and the means of controlling it is a lever, which he throws himself into at
Yeah.
some point. Yeah, and that causes him to zip through time.
Yep.
It is very interesting. And of course, it does the extreme version of opening up that question of like, what would happen?
What gets
you know?
affected, yeah.
Like, why shouldn't you be controlling time is really
Right.
what that's saying, you know?
Yeah.
Which I do find very fascinating.
Well, that's all that time travel. All these time travel things are is like, how can I control what I can't control?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the
Yeah.
question.
I mean, that is like, pretty much the impetus of that thing. What could I do?
Yeah.
But it always
Yeah.
comes around to bites in the ass as morale.
Why is time
Yeah, it all
linear?
comes down to a monkey's paw kind of fucking moral.
Yeah, you're right.
Why is time linear, and does it have to be? Or can I go back and affect time in some meaningful way.
That's kind of what the Terminator movies do. It's like we were just bad mouthing Terminator 3, but the very end of it is like, no, you had no real effect on it. It was just going to happen anyway.
No, and that is fair for that movie, absolutely, but like, still kind of dog shit.
Yeah, no, it's
Well, I mean, it's dog shit in plot, but it's fun in just actuality.
like I will always, because you used to have the debate, you and I, Max, about the T3 versus Salvation.
Yeah,
and I would be like, Salvation is probably better, but it's just both of them are so bad that it's just like it's picking and choosing which
who's
version,
the shiniest turd.
Yeah, which version of shit would you rather eat?
Was T3 the one with the female Terminator in red leather?
Yeah.
And that's what took me out of it. I was like, I couldn't believe that Arnold Schwarzenegger is losing a fight to this short blonde lady.
Wasn't that part of the show? Like, I know there was I
never watched the
short-lived Fox show that was Terminator.
Sarah Connor.
The Sarah Connor.
Yeah, wasn't that the same? Like, well, maybe not the same actress that was portraying her, but like that wasn't the same.
No, separate.
T whatever it was.
Separate.
For me, what ruined T3 was very simply, and this is like a small part of the story, but it was that when he basically like tells Sarah Connor and John or whatever happens in that scene.
Well, John Connor should have just died taking the ketamine in the beginning of the movie.
Absolutely, it's absurd. But he's like,
how much ketamine did he do?
You
I've never
guys
seen this.
you guys load up into this coffin, and I'm gonna walk you out because I'm a Terminator. And, like, nobody can kill me with bullets, right? Which that part is fair. No one can kill him with bullets. So he's just, like, carrying a coffin on his shoulder, and, like, that part is fine. But then the police just open up with, like, fucking everything.
Arsenal
like
that they shouldn't really have.
Yeah, well, cops do have those things.
I know, but they shouldn't.
But they've got, like, fucking crazy armaments. There's, like, 50 cals ripping into this coffin. And I'm watching it, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, why would they make a bulletproof coffin? What's the point? Why would this be a thing?
The mafia?
In case they get a drive-by when they bury it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Have you never listened to Bone Thugs and Harmony?
Oh, my God, yeah.
So, Moses,
I find myself at the crossroads.
It seems like you were confusing Christiana Loken, who was the whatever the fuck she
From
was
the
in
TV
Terminator
show?
3. No, she was in T3.
Okay.
Yeah, T3, the blonde lady, yeah.
And then I guess Sarah Connor is Lena Headey.
Well,
Cersei from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
All right.
So.
Well, no, I thought there was a female Terminator in the TV show.
There was in the show.
And, like, aside from Sarah Connor, because she's not a Terminator,
it's not the same. It's not the same.
All right.
Character.
I loosely watched that show, and I don't believe I've ever seen, what is it, T3? I don't think I've ever seen that.
There is, and it is Summer Glau? Is that how you say
I know
it?
who she is.
Yeah.
I've heard of her. I don't know what she's from, though. Summer Glau.
From the show you were just mentioning.
Yeah.
From the
maybe
Sarah
that's
Connor
it. I thought she was in something else.
I also just want to, real quick, I wasn't going to say anything, but it's lingering on my mind from about 30 seconds ago.
Time's a bitch, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, right? Yeah.
I'll go back in time and fucking
How
get
do you
over
say it? T3?
T3?
Just like the general way in which you approach that as if you were an immigrant to this country was foreign to you.
I've never seen the goddamn movie.
I know that you've heard of
I've heard of it, but like T3?
It's a movie, and it's very popular.
Is it a movie, and is it that popular?
What? There's been like 6 or 7 now, right?
Yeah.
And they get into the adjacent, like the horror movie cliche kind of territory, and it's like, I don't care, man.
Well, the first
Like,
movie
go to
was,
space,
They
whatever.
just have to keep aging down Arnold Schwarzenegger movie after movie after
It's
movie.
all CGI.
And he doesn't even do all of them.
The first one kind of does that whole horror movie-esque type
Yes.
thing.
It does have
but
that.
that's also like it was the first movie.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the genre. You didn't know what genre they were leaning into with that.
I have a lot of love for that first movie.
Yeah.
It has some really janky shit,
great.
but I have a lot of love for the portrayal in that first
I
movie.
want to
think
say
it's
there's
great.
a famous punk band that being
Yeah,
played.
it's in that one scene where they're in the club, right?
Yeah, I want to say it's like a pseudo-famous punk band, but I can't remember. I might be getting this confused with 21 Jump Street with Agent Orange, but I
Hell,
said Jump.
it's also like White Zombie playing in Airheads.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Really?
yeah, that's 100% true.
I had no idea about that.
On a completely unrelated note to time travel, I just want to comment on in T2, right? When he's like marching through that building that they hold themselves, Cyberdyne Systems,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And he's just like raining down on the cops and whatnot. Even when you love the police, is that not like you're rooting for him? I'm really about that scene. I just feel like it's just really cool, you know?
You know, hilariously, so I haven't seen it in a minute, and I remember him writing it down on. But like, does he have like a minigun, or is it like a 40?
There is a point where he has a minigun.
So the way I don't
know if it's
for some
there.
reason I've watched this movie like a million times.
Yeah.
As I assume that we all
I know
have,
it's a big gun.
Doesn't he rip it off of the helicopter
so.
that's like attacking him
I
in
remember the scene well.
hospital
So
or something?
basically, they go like all the fucking SWAT team. They all like rain in on him in the lobby of Cyberdyne Systems, and he like puts gas masks on Sarah Connor and John and such and so forth. And then he just like walks out, and they're like, "Put your guns down," blah blah blah. You know, which is obviously more than a person in real life would get. But either way, he just like starts marching towards them. They open fire, and they're just ripping into him with their like sidearms and fucking assault rifles and shit like that. And then he's just got like he's got a gas canister. It's like a grenade launcher.
It sounds like a 40 millimeter launcher.
Exactly.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and he just starts. It's tear gas.
And he's hitting them. Yeah, because John told them don't kill anybody.
Yeah.
So he's shooting people in the knees and shit like that.
Yeah, I mean,
and it's really badass.
That's-
And then what you guys are thinking of is that he eventually, once he's like neutralized all the cops in the lobby, he goes back up to a higher story, and he's like, all right, I'm just going to keep all of these, like 500 cops outside, military's rolling up.
Yes.
And he's just like, I'm just going to keep everybody at bay, and he's got this minigun in his hand. It's like a Vulcan cannon or something like that.
Yeah, that was off of a helicopter or
Yeah,
something.
exactly.
And it's like, why would you be able to work that if you ripped it off of a machine?
Well, this is the thing. It's that, I mean, I can't speak to the nuances of
There's
that.
no trigger
but, I mean,
on it.
Other than Jesse Ventura, he's able to hold up the weapon,
Right.
and indeed it does have a trigger.
Well, he's a robot, so
Yeah.
sure, he could lift that. I'll give him the strength thing.
But Jesse Ventura was a sexual tyrannosaurus,
Yes.
so he was also able to do that.
He also
but-
didn't have time to bleed.
But
so-
not a robot. But
It's
not
like,
a
it's a
robot.
200-pound weapon.
Can
And
you
he's just
imagine a
like,
T-Rex
and
shooting
he's
a
just
minigun?
like, oh my god, yeah, that would
Like
be
with,
the end of
with
us.
those arms? Like, how are they doing that?
Well, that's why they need it, because their arms are so short.
Oh, I get why they need it, but I don't think they could do it.
So yeah, it's both true. I remember him having a 40 mil canister gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And then
remember
he
that.
gets a minigun.
And that whole
Yeah.
scene is that he never actually kills somebody, but he's fucking everybody up, like just royally.
Well, he's
and like
also-
there's multiple moments where they like focus on the victim that he has, and it's typically obviously it's like a cop or something.
Yeah, some
that was
LA
sent
cop
there.
that-
and they're like looking at him with terror, and it's just Schwarzenegger, just like the guy, like the governor that we know, and he's just
Of
looking at him,
California, where
stone
he's
fucking
shooting up the
cold.
police.
Yeah. And he's just like going through the motions, and it's just it's a fantastic scene. As a child, I was like, this is who I want to be. Yeah.
So, guys, I pulled this up.
Please.
Since we were on the subject of time travel movies. This is from Popular Mechanics, the 35 best time travel movies.
Interesting.
And if you guys want to react to it, we can go
Please.
through it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's
yeah,
go.
please.
35 seems long, but let's go.
Number 35, and I'm sorry to say this, Max, is Time Cop.
Wow.
I thought
right.
that would be higher,
Listen,
honestly.
it was really nice doing this podcast with you guys. Loved being here.
There
Have
he
a great
goes.
night.
Well, just hang for a bit.
Just
Hang for a bit.
hang it.
For those that aren't, he's warming up the treadmill to go 88.
All right, number 34, The Final Countdown /
Wow.
The Philadelphia Experiment.
Oh, okay.
I don't know of that.
I vaguely remember that.
I don't know that one.
Yeah.
I'll read the little blurb. Although most people would file this film under flop, The Final Countdown contains such an amazing premise, it has to be recognized. The crew of the USS Nimitz enters a storm
I know this
vortex
one.
Yeah.
and is transported to Pearl Harbor in
Yep.
1941.
I know that I've actually watched this movie.
What a perfect time.
Yeah, I forgot about this one.
Turning a favorite imaginary war game scenario into real life. Although the actual film elements aren't necessarily memorable, it does give us an incredibly good look at the Nimitz. The film was shot on the actual carrier, so that's neat, I guess.
Okay.
But you know,
Navy.gov.
as someone who was on an aircraft carrier, that's less neat.
Yeah. I was about to say. I was waiting for that addendum.
All right, number 33, Men in Black 3.
Really? I
never saw it.
know there was a time aspect to it, but come on.
I never saw that movie.
It has
There was no need to watch it.
I think Josh Brolin played a young
Yeah.
That's
What's
what I
his
would
name?
expect, yeah.
Tommy Lee Jones. I heard him from outside. Yeah, That's amazing.
Number 32, Flight of the Navigator.
Oh, I know that one.
Oh yeah, I guess.
I don't know. Yeah, it's not a great movie.
No,
Not a great
no,
movie.
I got nothing good to. Or
Yeah.
actually negative.
What's next? Keep going.
Non-plus.
Just ring them down.
Number 31, Time After Time.
Oh
Wow.
Oh
All right.
God.
It's actually not even related to
No.
Where is
that
the
song.
Land Before Time on this?
That's
Number 30, Time Crimes.
I
don't know that.
I don't even know what that is.
A film with perhaps the lowest budget on this list.
Oh, wow.
Time Crimes is a Spanish language movie that follows a typical time travel trope, many copies of one person causing major problems, but creates 92 minutes of truly enjoyable cinema.
All right.
Dan, I'm sorry. Can you skip ahead to number 1?
Do you want me to skip all? I
do.
I did, and I can tell you what it is. And you know what it is. And everyone in this room knows what it is.
What is
It's got to be Back to the Future.
Thank you,
Back to-
Moses.
yeah.
You got it
God
right.
damn it. God damn it.
Like, it's not great as far
We
as
got
like,
biffed again.
Yeah. It's not great as far as time travel science goes, but it's a fun goddamn movie.
Work your way back up from there.
You want to?
Let's go from 10 down.
Yeah.
You want to go from 10 down?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
We'll go to 11 since we
Well,
know
I
what
mean,
one
let's
is.
let's not skip through all of these things.
All right, no.
because-
Any highlights? Throw
Yes,
them our way.
I'll go through some. Yes, Moses. I know you're
wow.
pointing that. Number 28, Donnie Darko.
Fuck that movie.
That's a ton.
all right.
It's kind of a time travel movie in essence, but it's a terrible movie. And the only people that talk about it are people that don't even know what the fuck they are. They all shop at fucking Hot Topic and love this goddamn movie, and they don't know why, but they'll talk about it endlessly.
Moses,
saying that
tell
it's the
me
most-
who hurt you.
It was Frank, the goddamn bunny from.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I kind of have to agree with Moses on this one because I
not a good movie. It's not.
avoided it. And
I agree, it's a bad movie.
I largely avoided it because those scene kids were so in love with it.
And it doesn't make any fucking sense. There's nothing to the fucking story.
I
And
ended
it's
up
just like
watching it-
Jake Gyllenhaal being dumbfounded continuously, even though he's the protagonist.
Yeah, I watched it 10 years later. Wasn't impressed. Move on.
Number 26, X-Men: Days of Future
Oh,
Past.
All right, that is like the movie itself is bad, and this is a comic book.
Oh, you're about to defend it.
No, I won't defend the movie because it's stupid what
It's
they did
bad.
there. It's stupid what
It's
they
bad.
did because there was like great things in the comic that it's based off of, but that movie did none of those things.
I will
Did
jump.
none of those things.
I will jump in here too. I fucking hated this movie. I remember watching this movie.
It's aggravating.
I liked X-Men First Class, kind of like the reboot.
Yeah, that was
fine.
fun.
It
That was
was
fun.
fine.
It was
Yeah,
an interesting
Like, it was an
reboot, yeah.
interesting enough movie, and then this is kind of like that slapdash. We have to try and fix.
We had to
like,
try to
yeah,
connect
three-
things together.
Yeah,
and it's
Fox is just grasping at straws, and they didn't know what they were doing the first time, and now they're going to get it completely wrong the fifth time, I think.
And this is one of the best stories. that X-Men
it's
has
one of the
done.
that and the Phoenix Saga, which they shit on constantly
They
too.
did that twice.
Yeah, and they got it wrong.
Twice.
They just make it worse each time.
God.
I could go on for days.
No,
about
we're not.
that
But we're
part.
not going to.
But here's another one. Number 22, Moses. Doctor Strange.
I don't think this was a bad movie.
It's not bad, but
because
like,
it had really nothing to do with time.
It's not, these are not time trope
Yeah.
movies to me. These are
Well,
movies
the
that have a
X-Men
lot.
was. X-Men was. Doctor
Sure.
Strange is not.
No.
Yeah, isn't that more of like a multiverse thing?
Not even the first
Not the
one.
first
No,
one.
it was just, like the only time travel that really is happening in that is when he's fighting Dormammu, and he gets instant replays.
Yeah.
like which is kind of a cop out, but it has nothing to do really with time travel. It's just him reversing.
There is
time.
time shit
There's
involved,
time
but
shit
it's
in
not-
it, but it's not a time travel movie.
No. Agreed.
Number 18, Looper.
We talked about that.
What
a
is the
little.
what number is that?
Great movie.
Oh, it should be number 1.
Great.
You fucking terrorist.
JVC
Great
said so, and I go by the book of JVC.
I honestly think that's a great time travel movie. And as
It's
far as
at least it's somewhat interesting.
It does
Yeah.
bring up different,
and it's
interesting.
like one of the things about that I genuinely like all the modern films that I've watched that I find super fucking creepy, and on the note of how you can affect things in the past.
Yeah.
There's this like scene in it where they're trying to get somebody to meet them in the present.
Yes.
And so they found him in the past.
Yes.
And they're like cutting off his body parts. So he's in the present.
He's
and,
losing.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like, and he's just like wandering around, and he's like, oh, toe's gone.
Yep.
And he's like, shit, I think I still owe that guy $20.
Yeah.
And he's
It's
like,
so
let me get
bizarre.
over to where he's at. And then he's like walking there. Another toe's gone.
Yep.
Another toe's gone. Eventually a foot's gone. And he's like, I need to hurry. And he's like accelerating. And I'm like watching this scene, which is just like tragic in its own right. And I'm like, this is fucking terrifying. I hope I've never offended anybody in the past.
It's
and
also-
they have time control because I will pay the price
What
for
I will
that.
That's also stupid because doesn't he know what happened to him in the past because it's happening to him in the
Well,
past?
now you're
No.
asking stupid questions.
That gets floppy. But what I will say, and that's the part I don't like about the movie, the world they built, I thought was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was well done.
Yeah. That was good, and like the kid being whatever, the Black Rain or whatever entity, whatever. And I thought the lore that they built, however thin it was enough to be like, oh, that's interesting.
You could do a TV show with that, but not a movie.
Right.
I mean, the overall concept of that, I don't know, the time travel element that they built into it, where it was like you can't travel with, for some reason, you couldn't travel with, or no, the cash was meaningless if you traveled with it.
Yes.
So you would travel with like precious metals because those hold.
Well, yeah,
weird.
because it was like a credit system type thing, so that didn't matter.
Well,
so
I
you had to
get-
travel with
I
things
get that, like, if you travel somewhere, like, dollars might not exist if you travel so far in the past.
Right,
But, like, and fine with precious metals, but, like, it's still money. Like, money is money.
so much for that gold standard, eh, boys?
Well, yeah, right, yeah. But I mean, like, not for nothing. I mean, that part of it is true. If you traveled back,
That's fair.
Like, even if you just went back to 1980, and you had a shit ton of $100 bills,
some of
with
those
you, people
scenes-
are going to look at those bills and be like, "These are fake."
Yeah.
But some of those scenes had nothing to do with money, like, and they weren't that far apart in that timeline that they were using.
We're getting too deep into a middling movie.
That's fair.
Number 16, a lot of comic book movies. Avengers Endgame.
I'm sorry, but like
It was a cop out, but it's a comic book movie.
it's-
What do you want?
It's also, like, it's disappointing when you watch it after, obviously, because it's the conclusion of
Right,
it. But, like,
right.
what is it?
Infinity War.
Infinity War was
Infinity War is the better movie.
It is. No, that's 100% true.
Fair.
Number
And it's just move on. Just move on. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, because I could go all day about that too.
We'll talk about that later. Number 15, and this is low for this movie, Interstellar.
That is low.
That's
I thought that would be higher up.
Yeah, it's actually
the
like
Tesseract in that was really cool.
I kind
haven't
of figured
seen
that
it
would be a top 10 movie, but
Yeah. There's no other movie that's depicted time travel in like a realistic way like that. Even the time dilation that they did.
at least cogently to its own story.
That's something that isn't even really acknowledged in time travel.
Yeah, they did the
movies, where it's
space travel time dilation, like what actually happens to astronauts. And
If you travel through space for X amount of time, traveling at this like super speed, like 30,000 miles per hour, let's call it, then over time, then you're going to age at a different rate than the people back here on Earth. And that's just like a factual thing that's understood. And movies don't acknowledge that, but Interstellar did.
Interstellar did a good job of that because they, even in certain places, like they knew the consequence of time being spent in the moment.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They actually exaggerated it
Yeah.
in that film, which was kind of silly, but they had to do it for the movie.
side note too on that very premise. I think it's called 39 by Queen.
Yes.
The whole song is based on that premise where
Yeah.
they leave and they come back and
really?
that's
neat.
Yeah, and it's
I gotta
actually
go give that a listen.
It's one of the
Time
few.
dilation.
It's one of the few Queen songs that's not sung by
Yep,
Freddie Mercury.
exactly
it's sung
right.
by Brian May.
Yeah,
Oh, wow. Good
but
for
go
him.
figure.
Yeah.
What was he? Never mind.
Yeah, and then
and where do you think he was?
Yeah, I know where he was.
And Freddie Mercury's such a
Scanning
better
divorce.
singer that I just desperately
Well,
try to find the version
yeah.
that he's singing.
I know.
Does he cover that in like? Does he do that song in like concert?
I think so. I think that's
He
where I
would
found
do
it.
that.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
all right.
Number 14, The Time Machine.
Yeah.
Which one?
The original.
Oh, and listen, maybe I gave it more points because of nostalgia and my affect towards that like Victorian era. Type
Everything
thing.
looks better in sepia.
And I can imagine like it could be rated low.
This
I
is
get it, I
this is
get it.
also a shitty list. So
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
This is
No.
kind of a shitty
Right.
list.
I would never say it should be number one.
Yeah.
But
No.
I get it. I get it to a degree.
number 13, Edge of Tomorrow.
I love that movie.
That's
I love
the
that movie.
Tom Cruise.
That's the Tom Cruise.
For everybody
And
listening, that is watch that.
Yeah.
It's worth it. It's worth it. It's
a lot
Tom
of people
Cruise,
missed
and
it
I
up
hate
front,
him.
but it has gained a cult
I
following.
think I watched it on a trip to.
I'm not a
Japan or
Tom
something.
Cruise fan, but my God, that movie is.
Well,
you just watch him die a bunch
And
of
the way I
times.
sold it for years is like you get to watch Tom Cruise die like 27
I
times.
thought that was Vanilla Sky. Doesn't he die 100 times in that too?
Does he?
I don't, not in a fun way.
Him dying sounds fun to me. Fuck
No,
Tom Cruise. Yeah, I said it.
Number 11 is Groundhog Day.
Yeah,
All right,
actually,
so that's like
Yeah.
in my brain, I take time travel movies and time loop movies as kind of like
I treat
Two
them
separate
separately,
things.
but
but
no,
that
that's
is
fair.
kind of a time travel-ish
It
movie.
is. Time loop is time travel. It's
Yeah.
a sect of
No, it
time
is.
travel.
And that
like,
is a
Edge of
great
Tomorrow
movie.
is a time loop movie. Absolutely.
Groundhog
So,
Day
like,
deserves to be ahead of that, but like,
And for
that's a great movie.
for people like for me, that's like the progenitor of the time like movie
Yeah.
for movie.
Yeah.
For me.
All right, so let's go through the top 10 real quick. We got number 10, Arrival.
Never heard of it.
Oh, yeah. Is that
Oh, I
that's
know
like
that
the
one.
Amy
Yeah.
Adams, like whatever. Yeah.
I didn't care about that.
Yeah.
Number 9, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
That's
Oh,
fair.
okay.
That's
I'll
fair. I
Give,
forgot
I'll give it
about
Credo
that.
because I forgot about it.
Yeah.
I haven't really thought about where
That gives no credence to time travel
No.
in any type
No.
of scientific way, but it's a fun
Well,
a
it's
fun
done in the
movie.
future to affect the past in a way to affect the future.
and phone booths are how you travel through time. So that
Well,
is
I
factual.
mean, if you're going back to the 80s, shit, yeah, that's how you do it.
That's why obviously
Now
you
you just-
have to go back to the 80s to travel through time. You're fucking stupid.
I mean,
And also Carlin.
what?
Fuck
Yeah, George Carlin is Rufus?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Number 8, Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home.
Oh God, that movie.
Fine.
Really?
I'll allow it, but
If you grown to that,
I
Justin,
know I'm gonna hurt. I know I have hurt coming.
Yeah, number 7, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of
fuck you.
Azkaban.
Fuck you. No.
no,
No.
Number 6, Planet of the Apes.
Kinda.
Was that really?
I feel like that was.
that wasn't a time travel movie.
it didn't
though.
seem like.
It's going through the same time dilation type thing.
It's a
where you
time
go-
dilation
yeah.
thing because he goes off
into space
then
and they
he
come
comes
back.
down.
Oh, right.
You know, it's never been
Yeah.
explained to me that way, but it just seemed like it was an offshoot of a different
Yeah.
reality.
Yeah, it's a like I mean,
He was a modern man who
It
went
was
to space,
it was
came
meant to
back,
be that
time
he traveled
dilation.
through
No,
so
I mean-
much time that the world had evolved.
As long as it's who did the was that Mark Wahlberg in the remake?
Oh, in the remake, yeah. I thought you were like Charlton.
the remake
Heston
is
was
terrible.
the
Yeah,
original.
No,
terrible.
It's the original.
Okay.
riff tracks of the remake is great.
Oh yeah.
Number 5, 12 Monkeys.
Okay.
There we are.
That's fair.
All right. I feel like that's fair.
I feel validated.
Yeah.
Number 4,
You ever see that show, the 12 Monkeys show?
No.
Nobody needs to see
No.
that.
Number 4, Time Bandits.
Time Bandits was fun.
Oh,
Time
with
Bandits
Sean
was fun
Connery?
as fuck. Yeah.
You love
Shit,
that
I forgot
movie.
about that.
I
movie.
forgot
No,
about
you're
that,
right
too.
to forget about it.
Oh, that was a fun fucking movie.
Whatever.
It's
Terrible.
I think that's a little misplaced, but
Yeah, number 4.
It shouldn't be up there,
yeah.
You could switch this with Time Cop, and it would make more sense.
That's brutal.
I had entirely forgotten that movie existed in all ways, shapes, and
I wish I could. Moses brings it up like once a week.
but it's a fun movie. I don't know.
Number 3, The Terminator and Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Oh, they both share it at
share it,
number
three or whatever.
3 you're
All
saying?
right. I mean, it's not unfair to put them together, but
But it's also like,
They're the only two good ones.
if you put them together, they should be one because
Yeah.
two good
Yeah.
movies.
yeah.
Okay.
You need one with the other, like, because Terminator 2 doesn't make a hell of a lot of sense if you don't have one.
Yeah, I think you could still watch 2 in a vacuum.
I think you could still watch
I
two.
think
but-
no, I absolutely
Yeah,
think
two's
you can
fine by
watch two in a
itself, yeah.
vacuum. I think they're a pretty decent package deal.
yeah, and they were
But you
made.
can absolutely watch
They
them
were
separate
made
from
pretty
each other.
far apart.
They were.
weren't they?
They were.
It was like
Yeah.
88, 92, right?
Yeah, that's a big gap of just like continuing this idea.
Yeah.
And James Cameron is terrible at like stories.
Go on.
Number 2 is Primer.
What is that?
Primer?
I'm familiar with that.
I don't
Although-
even know what that is.
Although Primer is the clear art house pick on this
art
list,
house movie.
it's a film with so much ingenuity. It's hard not to watch it in amazement. That's it. That's where I'm leaving
No
it.
one's even.
I don't have that many
And I'm
mushrooms.
sorry, but like
Do I
our,
have to
our
be- how
guest
high do I
here
have to be?
Yeah.
usually tells me about like fucking anything that's worth watching. He's told me about.
Yeah.
And I've never heard of it.
I've never heard of it either.
Directed by Shane Carruth, Primer
Oh,
is
you should have
basically
led with that.
is basically what would be
Asshole.
like if Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, instead of inventing Apple in their garage, discovered time travel. All right, we're moving on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
please, no.
And
You've
the
said
number
too much.
And the number 1, we already said it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Back to the Future.
Yeah.
We're going back in time.
Tell
least
me,
it had Huey
doctor,
Lewis.
where
Yeah,
we
but
going this time?
Imagine that movie happened with Christian Glover.
Oh, that'd be great.
Well, wasn't that the second one he wasn't on?
Well, he was supposed to be the lead.
Oh, well,
He was
so
supposed
was
to
Eric
play
Stoltz.
Yeah. Well, Eric
Like,
Stoltz
Eric Stoltz
actually,
is supposed to be the
Eric
lead.
Stoltz actually got some of it filmed.
And he wasn't good.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, Crispin Glover lost his fucking mind over that.
Well, Crispin Glover lost his mind probably well before that movie, and he was just holding it together to make it.
All right. So, gentlemen, reactions to that list.
A lot of it's bullshit.
Yeah, hilarious. I would
It
say my biggest
stinks.
reaction is not knowing what the number 2 movie is in any way, shape, or form.
So that does have an
And it's
effect,
above Terminator and Terminator 2.
Yeah.
Like, fuck you.
It's above several movies, not even several, many movies that I've seen like 10 times plus.
Yeah.
But they also have those movies
In
on
fact,
there.
I can't even remember what it was called. What was the second movie?
Primer.
Primer?
Yeah. Ugh.
But they also have movies on there that really have nothing to
Do with time.
Like time travel, at least. Like Doctor Strange doesn't. Like, I'll give you Avengers. Like, yeah, that was kind of a cop-out, but
The
Doctor Strange
like, oh,
didn't.
he has the time stone.
Yeah.
That's how you attach
it was just
to
kind of alluding to this grander scheme thing, and it's like, it doesn't really count.
Yeah, if time travel is a cop-out to fix what, because you wrote yourself
Yeah.
into a corner in a previous movie, it's not a good time travel.
And for all
Well,
that,
no, but-
Superman 3 is a time travel movie.
Yeah.
Well, it's not
And it
even
would
on
be-
the list.
And it would be a better time travel movie.
Yeah.
So now, really, all I have to is like, do I look into this Primer movie? Because I feel like I'm going to be upset.
I think you will be disappointed, I assume. Yeah.
No, it's number 2. How disappointed could you be?
But you know what?
Very.
But you know what won't be upsetting? Subscribing to this podcast. Leave us a 5-star review. Check us out on YouTube and Rumble. Make sure that you like, comment, share, and hit that notification bell. Follow us on social media. We are at Loud and Drunk on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. If you enjoyed this podcast, then become a Loud and Drunk supporter at loudanddrunk.locals.com and patreon.com/loudanddrunk. So, gentlemen, do you got closing thoughts? Justin.
Don't hurt your brain too hard trying to figure this stuff out. Enjoy whatever you want. If you want to have flights of fancy, go mentally procreate with a ancestor. I don't know.
Yeah, that's going to really hurt the old noggin.
Yeah.
Moses.
Oh, hold on. I am getting somebody's bringing me a message.
Oh,
Dan, he's alive. The Doc's alive. He's in 1855, but he's alive.
wow.
Max, closing thoughts.
It's been fantastic being here with all of you guys. Lovely podcast. It's at this time that I would like to share the awful truth that Max Walker is not my real name.
Oh, no.
In fact, I stole that name from one of the greatest movies of your time. That's the star of... Well, I think you guys already know.
A wink and a nod.
No, tell us. Tell us. I am waiting with bated breath.
It's Time Cop.
I've heard of it.
I'm wanted by my own people in this time, so I do need to return, but it was wonderful hanging out here with all of you, and
It was a pleasure.
yeah, it's an absolute pleasure for me as well. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
No.
But everybody should watch Time Cop. Even in my own time.
Is
Even
it
in
still
my own
played?
time. Yeah, though I am from the future and the past, we absolutely, it's something that we worship.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty much
Warren,
all day,
yeah.
every day. Yeah.
So everybody get your nuts in a row and follow Time Cop.
I have a question. Is Demolition Man not a time travel
Is it a
movie?
question? What?
Not really. He
Because
was
he's
in ice.
frozen in ice. And I
it
love
would be
that
like
movie.
considering like Captain America: First Avenger.
Right.
Like a
All right.
time
Well,
travel movie. Or
that whole movie was
Yeah.
based.
But
on
we're
that,
still in the send-off, ladies
Yeah.
and gentlemen, so let's get out of here.
So for Justin, Moses, and Time Cop over
Demolition
there.
Man.
There
Yes.
you go. I'm Dan.
Simon Phoenix.
Thank you for joining us, and until next time, this was Loud and Drunk.
Maybe.
Be well.